Me today and gonna shift gears a little bit today. I'm gonna start focusing a little bit more on the Yoga Sutras, and every so often I'm gonna upload a video. Now, if you don't know what the Yoga Sutras are, just go ahead and check out the video for the introduction to the Yoga Sutras, and I talk a little bit about like what yoga is. But the Yoga Sutras consist of about 250 lines. There's 4 books, and each book, like I said, has about 50 to 60 sutras in it. Now, what a sutra is a sutra is basically a line or 2 lines of Sanskrit texts that are text that is made to, how do I put it? Basically, when the Yoga Sutras, before it was codified, it was passed down through the oral tradition. And so what they did is they made phrases as short as possible to convey as much meaning. So really, when you read this is pretty much all Sanskrit literature, it's usually very short and concise and to the point. And really what you do, especially with the Yoga Sutras, is you take one line and you extract a whole lot of meaning out of that line. It's not a very descriptive language, and it also has it has a lot of deeper contextual meaning to it, and that's one of the awesome things about it. So when we start with the Yoga Sutras here, starting off, we're going to Book 1, Sutra 1. Now, this is the actual sutra itself. It's Atta Yoga Nusnasanam. And so I probably butchered that, but this is how it actually looks in Sanskrit. And so really the interesting thing about Sanskrit is if you're not familiar with the language, what they'll do, unlike Hindi tends to, well, first of all, the alphabet's called Devanagari. And so what they do in modern Devanagari and mainly in Hindi is they actually break up the words, but in Sanskrit, they tend to combine everything into one long word. So this word right here is actually a bunch of different words. Like you can make out yoga, let's see, asanam, that's another one. And so really, I mean, you could actually extract this. And so you can also find multiple translations of the Yoga Sutras too. So what I'm going to be using here is, let's see where I put this, yeah. So one of my favorites right here is the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Patanjali is the author of the Yoga Sutras. And this is by Sri Swami Satchidananda. And his version is probably one of the best ones out there. And I'm going to actually point you to some other resources too. So going on with this, really the loose translation of this sutra is here now begins the practice of yoga. So I kind of chose that clock now. And there's a couple of key points to take away from this. So the only prerequisite to start yoga is a sincere intention, okay? Really, yoga is all about what you intend to do, what you intend to accomplish, and really it's about developing the willpower to do the yoga. Really, like yoga is powered on your own volition. So you start being a yogi as soon as you make an active decision to practice yoga. That's another point in this. So there is no real prerequisite to being a yogi, and yogis also don't really have any sort of like leveling up system like in some like online RPGs. There's really people they either practice yoga or they don't practice yoga. And the people that practice yoga and that are people that are more adept about yoga, you're probably not going to know it as much because the adepts don't necessarily talk about it too much. And so I'll kind of talk about my experience. So I've been practicing, well, I got into yoga first through the Self-Realization Fellowship, which is an offshoot of what Paramahansa Yogananda started. Actually, no, it is the organization that Paramahansa Yogananda started. And Paramahansa Yogananda came over here from India, and he was one of the first people to bring yoga to the United States. The other one being Swami Vivekananda, and he has his own organization as well. So Self-Realization Fellowship teaches Kriya Yoga, and Kriya Yoga is specifically a kind of Kundalini Yoga. It's like a kind of pranayama, but the actual practice of Kriya Yoga taught by Goswami Kriyananda is all-encompassing. So yoga, when I talk about yoga, people think that yoga is just poses, and that is just like one part of 8 limbs of yoga. So really, and that's just asanas. And asanas are just positions, and really their original intention was to get you flexible and comfortable enough to go meditate for a while so you can really start the real work. Actually, almost all the 8 limbs of yoga are designed to get you to the point where you can concentrate go through your subconscious vault of ideas, samskaras, and all of your subconscious association with everything. And you also see this in Vedic astrology because it plays out through the birth chart. So what yoga is the methodology that we use to actually overcome the karma that we have in our Vedic astrology and your Western birth chart too. The Western birth chart actually looks at karma, but it's from a somewhat different perspective, but it's just as valid as the Vedic system. However, when you're practicing yoga, the Vedic system relates directly into the Vedic astrology relates directly to yoga via the chakra system. And so I'll get into a little bit of that more. And I think I actually have a video in here that describes the difference between the chakras and how they relate to the signs. So yoga is for everyone, but few grasp its full practice and get to higher stages of consciousness. I can't say this enough. There's one of the quotes out of the Bhagavad Gita is 1 out of 1,000 will seek. This is Lord Krishna talking to Arjuna. The Lord Krishna says 1 out of 1,000 will seek me, and 1 out of 1,000 will find me. So really, if you think about it, it's like 1 out of those 1,000 will find me. So if you think about it, it's really Krishna, what he's saying is your chances of finding God are about 1 in a million. But that's hyperbole. That's not a direct statistic, so don't take that literally. But the whole point is that a lot of people that start yoga really don't follow it through to the whole process. The whole process is to get you to a stage of enlightenment. Now, one of the things that I was taught by Goswami Kriyananda is that life is sadhana, and sadhana is your actual practice. Your yogic practice is referred to sadhana, okay? And so when you start your sadhana, you have to realize that your whole life, your whole existence is really meant to be a framework for the practice of yoga. It's not something where you shut it off for like half hour a day, you go and meditate, then you go about the world. Even your interactions in the day-to-day world trigger subconscious desires, and you need to have the tools that yoga gives you. You don't need to have them, but if you do have them, the tools that yoga gives you allows you to actually change your reactions to all this stuff. It's really a beautiful thing, and of course I'll talk about that more as we go through the series here. So, and also, too, if you decide to do a yoga, be aware that you have to confront the worst aspects of yourself. This is one of the most difficult parts of yoga. A lot of people that I've found think that yoga, and this is just from my anecdotal experience, so if you have a higher understanding of yoga, God bless you. But from what I've seen, a lot of people think that they have this perception that when you do yoga, you're just trying to stretch out to relax and get into a frame of mind. And that is true. That is not untrue. The thing is, when you get into this frame of mind, depending on your mind, all this stuff is going to start springing up from the well. So essentially what's going to happen is once you get into yoga, you're going to peel back all your layers of defense mechanisms and everything like that, and you will really get to know yourself, good and bad. And a lot of this will change your self-concept. The great thing is being a human being is we can take action on that stuff. So that's probably one of the greatest gifts that we were given, is the ability to choose and to act differently. Okay? Even in astrology, they say that astrology implies, it doesn't compel. There's always a choice. And that little choice is our free will. And your free will is actually freedom. And you earn your freedom through awareness. That's something that I really want you to remember here. So that's basically Sutra 1, and we'll start getting into more of the stuff as we go through Book 1. Okay, so here's some additional resources. No Big Secret Yoga and Astrology Yoga Sutras blogs. If you follow this link, I've actually been blogging on the Yoga Sutras for a couple of years, and I'm up to Sutra 3.14 or 3.13. And so it starts with the latest one that I blogged on first, and then it goes back closer to the first one. So you can dig through there, and you can find all of them. I think some of them I grouped together, but most of them I have an individual entry. Each entry is like 3 paragraphs. Another thing that I want to show you is swamij.com. Okay, this is from the Abou Ashram, and this is one of the best yogic resources I found. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to switch out of Google Sheets here, and I'm actually going to show you the website for the ashram here. And I tell you, this is one of the best websites related to yoga that I have ever seen, because what it does is it breaks down all of the Yoga Sutras, and it's got in-depth recommendations, charts, like right here, this basically talks about it, and we'll get into this too, and I'll probably use this as reference. Thank you so much in this ashram for Swami J for putting this together. I don't know if it's Swami or Swami J. Anyway, they have this great graphic here that describes consciousness and, you know, the senses, the body, how it relates to the consciousness mind. This is all yoga. I mean, all of this stuff right here, this is yoga. This is the really the nitty gritty of what yoga, and he even takes this here and he basically compares it to a computer chip. This is really great too. I mean, I really love it when somebody takes something out of something of antiquity and puts it into modern context. So, and I believe this is Swami J there too. So really, I mean, this is a great resource. It has more than you will ever need. And I'm just pointing to this basically on the Yoga Sutras. So, I mean, he even has his own flow chart. Wow, this is really amazing. And a couple of embedded YouTube videos. So really, I mean, check out swamij.com. I think you will really like it. Great resource. And I tell you, there's so much about yoga. It will keep you busy for the rest of your life. Same with astrology. So choose wisely. All right, so thank you for joining me today. I'm going to be doing more videos on this topic. And of course, like, subscribe, and share if you like what you see. So have a good evening.